The San Francisco 49ers enter another pivotal offseason, and if there's one theme that defines where this franchise currently stands, it's transition. For a team that has spent the better part of the last half-decade competing deep into January and February, the 49ers now face the kind of roster reshaping that often comes after sustained contention. Coaching additions, potential free agent signings, locker room questions, and significant roster turnover all point to a franchise preparing for its next phase while still trying to remain in the Super Bowl conversation. One of the quieter yet intriguing moves the organization has made involves the defensive coaching staff. Former head coach Matt Eberflus has joined the defensive staff, and while it may not dominate national headlines, this addition could have meaningful implications for the identity of the 49ers defense moving forward. Eberflus built a reputation during his tenure with the Indianapolis Colts as a defensive architect capable of producing disciplined, opportunistic units. In 3 of his 4 seasons there, the Colts finished with a top 10 scoring defense. That type of production is exactly what San Francisco expects every season, and bringing someone with that track record into the building suggests the team wants additional strategic voices shaping its defense. Of course, Eberflus' most recent stop paints a more complicated picture. His short stint in Dallas ended with a defense that struggled badly, allowing more than 30 points per game and finishing last in scoring defense. That context matters, especially considering the abrupt trade of star pass rusher Micah Parsons during that season, which dramatically changed the personnel landscape. For the 49ers, the takeaway is not necessarily the raw numbers, but rather the adaptability Eberflus brings. Working under a defensive-minded environment in San Francisco gives him a chance to contribute without carrying the full weight of coordinating the entire unit. With a roster that still features elite defensive leaders, his experience could help refine situational defense, pass rush concepts, and overall game planning. While the defensive staff sees reinforcement, the offensive side of the roster may experience some of the most dramatic change. The wide receiver position, once considered one of the deepest groups in the league, suddenly looks uncertain heading into the new league year. The impending departure of Brandon Ayuk creates a massive void at the X-receiver position, and the likelihood that Jawan Jennings finds a new team in free agency only intensifies the need for immediate reinforcements. That is why reports linking the 49ers to free agent receivers Alec Pierce and Romeo do carry so much significance. Both players offer traits that align with Kyle Shanahan's offensive philosophy, but they represent 2 very different types of investments. Pierce is coming off a breakout season that saw him eclipse the 1,000-yard mark while leading the NFL in yards per reception for the 2nd straight year. His ability to stretch the field vertically makes him one of the most dangerous deep threats on the market. In Shanahan's offense, a player with Pierce's speed and downfield ability could dramatically alter how defenses align against San Francisco's play-action attack. However, Pierce's production comes with a steep price tag. His projected market value exceeds $20 million per year, a figure that could push the 49ers out of contention if multiple teams enter the bidding. San Francisco has historically balanced star contracts with depth signings, and committing that level of money to a single receiver might limit flexibility elsewhere on the roster. That financial dynamic makes Romeo an intriguing alternative. Dew has not yet posted the kind of gaudy numbers that Pierce has, but his skill set may actually be better suited for Shanahan's timing-based system. His ability to win off the line of scrimmage, generate separation through sharp route running, and adjust within a structured offensive scheme mirrors the type of receivers that have thrived under Shanahan in the past. Dew also brings familiarity with a similar offensive structure, having played in Green Bay's variation of the Shanahan tree. That transition could allow him to step into the system more quickly than most free agent receivers. In the middle of the script, I want to ask you something. If you love deep NFL analysis and want to stay ahead of every major 49ers storyline this offseason, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. The offseason is where championships start to take shape, and we're breaking down every move, rumor, and roster decision that could define San Francisco's next Super Bowl run. Even beyond Pierce and Dew, the receiver market presents additional possibilities. One name generating interest as a potential fit is Marquise Hollywood Brown. After an underwhelming season in Kansas City, Brown could be exactly the type of buy-low candidate that thrives in Shanahan's offense. Despite limited production last year, Brown still possesses elite speed and the ability to threaten defenses vertically. His skill set could open up spacing for other playmakers while giving Brock Purdy another explosive option in the passing game. What makes Brown particularly appealing is the expected price point. Unlike the premium contracts that players like Pierce might command, Brown could be available on a modest deal slightly above $5 million per year. That type of contract allows the 49ers to strengthen the receiver room while preserving cap flexibility for other needs. In an offense built around motion, play action, and mismatches, Brown's speed could immediately stretch defenses and create easier throwing lanes for Purdy. While the offense searches for new weapons, the defensive side of the roster may also see significant change. One name being quietly monitored by San Francisco is Trey Hendrickson. The veteran edge rusher remains one of the most productive pass rushers in the NFL and led the league in sacks just 2 seasons ago. Any team pursuing Hendrickson knows exactly what they are getting: relentless pressure off the edge and a consistent ability to disrupt opposing quarterbacks. However, acquiring Hendrickson will not be simple. His market will be extremely competitive, and teams across the league are expected to pursue pass rush upgrades aggressively. The presence of other elite edge rushers potentially available, including Max Crosby, only intensifies the bidding environment. For the 49ers, the challenge lies in balancing the cost of acquisition with the long-term structure of their roster. With limited draft capital near the top of the first round, San Francisco cannot afford to overextend itself in a trade scenario where compensation spirals out of control. Beyond free agency and trades, the 49ers continue to invest in coaching development as well. The expected hiring of Angel Matute to Kyle Shanahan's staff reflects the organization's commitment to identifying young coaching talent. Matute played a key role at Kent State in reducing sacks allowed and improving the team's rushing production. Those improvements speak directly to the areas that Shanahan values most: offensive line efficiency and run game consistency. Matute's journey through the Bill Walsh Diversity Coaching Fellowship also highlights the developmental pipeline that the 49ers have built within their organization. Bringing in young minds who understand modern offensive principles ensures the team continues evolving tactically. Whether Matute contributes as an offensive assistant or in a more specialized role, his presence adds another analytical perspective to Shanahan's staff. The front office is also doing its homework on potential draft prospects. Oregon offensive lineman Alex Harkey recently met with the team, and his background makes him a fascinating developmental candidate. Originally a tight end at the junior college level, Harkey transitioned to offensive tackle and demonstrated significant improvement over the past 2 seasons. His 2024 campaign produced elite grades in both run blocking and pass protection, suggesting that his athletic background translates well to the offensive line. For a team that has battled injuries and inconsistency along the offensive front, adding versatile linemen through the draft could prove critical. Harkey's ability to start at right tackle while maintaining strong run-blocking efficiency aligns perfectly with the physical identity the 49ers want to maintain on offense. Yet perhaps the most intriguing storyline surrounding this team right now is not about schemes, free agents, or draft prospects. It is about the locker room itself. Reports have surfaced suggesting that multiple players may not want to remain in San Francisco, raising questions about the internal dynamics of the roster. The situation first gained attention through the Brandon Ayuk saga. While the team's reasoning for moving on reportedly involves missed rehab meetings, the players' side of the story remains largely unknown. What has become clear, however, is that Ayuk strongly desired a fresh start elsewhere. That revelation alone might not be surprising in a league where contract negotiations often lead to tense situations. But the suggestion that other players might feel similarly introduces a layer of uncertainty. At this point, it is important to separate speculation from reality. Veteran leaders such as George Kittle and Fred Warner recently signed extensions, signaling strong commitment to the organization. Offensive line anchor Trent Williams has publicly praised Kyle Shanahan's leadership, describing a coach who understands how to balance accountability with motivation. Those comments hardly sound like a locker room ready to fracture. Still, the possibility that some players might want out cannot be ignored entirely. It could involve depth players seeking larger roles elsewhere, younger contributors hoping for different opportunities, or individuals reacting to the natural pressure that comes with championship expectations. In a roster filled with competitive personalities, friction is not uncommon. What matters most is how the organization responds. The 49ers have built their reputation on strong leadership from the front office, coaching staff, and veteran core. General Manager John Lynch commands respect across the league, and ownership has consistently demonstrated a willingness to invest in the roster. Maintaining that stability will be essential as the team navigates this period of change. Another area of transformation lies within the free agent class currently on the roster. Several veterans appear likely to depart, signaling a shift toward younger, more cost-effective contributors. Players like Yetur Gross-Matos, Jordan Elliott, and Kevin Givens may all move on as the team looks to develop younger defensive linemen. Wide receiver Kendrick Bourne and return specialist Sky Moore also appear unlikely to return, reinforcing the idea that the receiver room will undergo a complete overhaul. There are, however, a few players the team could bring back on modest deals. Offensive lineman Spencer Burford remains a versatile depth option capable of playing multiple positions along the line. Special teams contributor Luke Gifford could also return, given his reliability in that phase of the game. Meanwhile, kicker Eddie Pinheiro may be one of the most important re-signings of the entire offseason after delivering a remarkably consistent season. All of these decisions point to a franchise carefully recalibrating its roster. The 49ers are not entering a rebuild. Instead, they are attempting to refresh key areas while preserving the championship foundation that has defined the Shanahan era. And that is what makes this offseason so fascinating. The team still has elite talent, a proven coaching staff, and a quarterback in Brock Purdy who has already demonstrated he can lead a high-powered offense. But the margin between staying at the top of the NFC and sliding back into the middle of the pack is razor-thin. If the 49ers successfully navigate the receiver market, reinforce the defensive front, and maintain locker room unity, they could easily find themselves back in the Super Bowl conversation. But if the roster turnover creates chemistry issues or leaves key positions undermanned, the road back to contention becomes much more difficult. This is why every move over the next few weeks matters. Free agency decisions, draft evaluations, coaching hires, and contract negotiations will collectively determine whether San Francisco remains one of the NFL's elite teams or begins a slow transition toward a new era. Before we wrap up, if you want continuous deep dives into every major development surrounding the San Francisco 49ers, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. The NFL offseason moves fast, and we'll be breaking down every rumor, every signing, and every strategic decision that could shape the 49ers' pursuit of the Lombardi Trophy.